going on, Cover Killer Nation? Now, a little more than a month ago, we had an album that I reviewed, that we talked about together, that was all about a really, really solid comeback from a long-time veteran of the death metal scene. And that was, of course, the new Autopsy record that came out a little bit earlier this year. And while it's not been as long of a time, as long of a span ever since we last heard an album from Exhumed, doesn't it kind of have that same feeling, that same welcome back? The fact that they are releasing a new album here in 2011, in fact an album that is due out today, entitled All Guts, No Glory. It's almost as though this is the year of the extreme metal comeback kids. And as I said, even though the Exhumed comeback is not as long in the making, it still feels awfully damn good. All Guts, No Glory, an 11-track affair from Exhumed, the newest platter of splatter from this band, and like Autopsy's album, which was released in the latter part of May, Exhumed has gone above and beyond what they need to do in order to really impress the masses with this particular record. As though they were listening to that Autopsy record as they were finishing up in the studio, even though that's completely not the case. As though the bar needed to be set high in order for them to try to exceed those expectations, in order to make it better, in order to make 2011 the true year of extreme metal. But this is an album that really is very, not discreet at all. It is indiscreet whenever it comes to its raw power. This is an album that is not cryptic. This is an album that gets right to the point, right the fuck away. This is an album where everything is done in a split second. It's extremely fast. This is not something where you're going to hear a lot of variation of tone. This is not something where you're going to hear a lot of variation of speed. There's only one speed, and that's fast. There's only one kind of music here, and that's violent death ground. And while this isn't going to really represent the microcosms or the microdissections of a band such as Wormrot in its shorter song lengths, whereas these are going to be a little bit more along the 3 to 4 minute long lines, all of the similar characteristics are there. The absolute chaos, the absolute insanity, the absolute rage, the ridiculous death metal vocals mixed with the searing, quick, aggressive, thrash-influenced grind riffs. It's crazy. All Guts, No Glory is Exhumed's way of saying, remember us, motherfuckers? And it's a great comeback. It's a great way to see Exhumed back on the scene. This is a band that really revolutionized the whole gore genre. It's something that was already there. The seeds were already being sowed in the 1990s whenever Exhumed was really just first getting their start, before they even released their first album in 1998. But whenever they came onto the scene, people were blown away by it. They still cite Exhumed as one of the gore fathers of the genre. All Guts, No Glory may seem as though it's a little bit more polished, but don't mistake polished for just production. Because this is an album that still maintains that same level of violence, that same level of intensity, that same level of sheer chaos. This is another anatomical evisceration by this band, done through your auditory senses. And it's exquisite. I called the Autopsy record an exquisite platter of splatter. Well, this is auditory evisceration. This is incredible. This is a very good disc. This is one that we may revisit again. And 2011, as I had said in a video previous to this, I was fearing that it would be the year of the disappointment because of Morbid Angel, because of Queensryche, because of bands like Syriana. But instead, I'm starting to rethink my theory as it goes, and we're talking bi-weekly here, because we're starting to see this. We're starting to really separate the men from the boys here in 2011, with a lot of the heavy hitters coming out in June and maybe not panning out so well. Now we're starting to understand where the future is going. We're understanding where we're at today, but we're understanding where we're going to be at tomorrow. And Exhumed kind of showed us where we were at yesterday with with the birthright, with the real birth pains of gore, and how it really became a really lucrative genre for a lot of bands in the 2000s and now in the new decade, the 2010s. However, with this release, with All Guts No Glory being as magnificent of an just absolute repulsive opus as it is, it really is showing that 2011 may just be the year of the extreme metal comeback kid. Don't be surprised if we see this album again in December. I highly recommend this. This is an album that you should all be picking up today. At your local FYE, at your local record store, order it from the label, order it directly from the band. Whatever you have to do in order to own this exquisite platter of carnage. This auditory evisceration, as I've called it. This absolute mind rape of an album. Do it. 8.75 out of 10. This is what it's all about. Take notes, future gorehounds of America. Take notes, future death grind practitioners. Take notes, future auditory butchers. This is how it's done.